What's up, guys? So today I am redoing the Plastidip that is on my hood. It is on both sides, here and over here as well. And I've actually gotten a surprising number of questions from people asking, what is that? What is it made out of? And why is it there? So to give you a quick backstory as to why it's there to cover up a blemish. Several years ago, my car was at the shop. This is when I was still living in South Carolina, and it was getting a bigger turbo, injectors, and a few other things done with it. Well, it was on a lift and they were raising it, and whenever it reached the top, the inertia from the car stopping was enough to cause the hood to fly up on its own, since I have hood struts, and it actually lifted up and hit a light fixture. The shop was very, very sorry that it happened, and they were very apologetic, and they offered to have it fixed, have it completely painted and everything. And I told them straight up, I was like, look, it's really not worth it. None of the body panels on my car match anyhow. They're all a different shade of blue. So it's truly not worth the trouble and hassle of, having a painter try to blend it into everything else. So they were very sorry about it, and they actually knocked off about $400 from my build cost, which is what it would have cost to have it painted and feathered and everything like that. So they removed the dent and they covered over it with primer, and they even blended it in this shape to help it blend in the car, so that it's not just a random, blotch of primer. So I got my car back, everything else was good to go, and I eventually covered over it with Plastidip because black Plastidip looks better than gray primer. And I took that shape and I flipped it over and reversed it and matched it for the passenger side, because I hate things not being symmetrical. So that's basically the backstory. It was there to cover up a blemish, and it's been like that ever since, and it's kind of become part of the car, and it sets my car apart from every other STI on the road. And I've actually seen some of you have copied it, which is pretty interesting, and that's very flattering. But yeah, this Plastidip is several years old at this point. It's starting to show some fingerprints in it because it's old and it's faded, and it's actually starting to peel on the passenger side. As you can tell, it's starting to peel up a little bit here and there, and water's starting to get in there, and dirt and everything else. So it's time to replace it. Now, this weather is looking questionable AF. It looked like it was about to rain all day, but it still hasn't. So I'm gonna push forward, and if I get rained out, then I guess I get rained out. But I definitely want to get this done today if I can. So I first of all need to peel off the old Plastidip. On the passenger side, it's going to come off very easily, I'm sure. The driver side, since it's actually put down over primer, that's probably not going to come off very easily. I just need to clean this area up so I can put down fresh Plastidip. So I forgot to lay down this painter's tape before I peeled off my Plastidip, but it's okay because there is a dirt line where the shape was. So I'm going to tape along that line so that I could mimic this shape and have the same exact shape replicated whenever I put on my new Plastidip. All right guys, so this was a fairly easy modification to do and I am very pleased with the results. I was pretty surprised that it came off of the primered section with no issues. I was sure I was going to have to fight that, but I have 2 tips if you're doing something similar on your own car or your own projects, whether it's a hood or a trunk or whatever. First of all, if you're trying to remove Plastidip, I highly recommend using a microfiber towel to rub off the old Plastidip. That should get it to peel off if it isn't peeling. Or you could also use clay bar. That will take it off as well. And tip number 2 is after you spray your Plastidip, if you have a panel that you're spraying and there's not a natural break, like a gap between 2 doors or something like that, but something similar to my hood here that I was doing, or whenever I did my rear bumper, that's a similar situation. If there's no natural gap, then the Plastidip is not going to break. It's going to peel up whenever you peel off the tape, even if it is wet. I am aware of that, and you know, if you don't peel Plastidip when it's wet, then yes, it's going to peel. But even when it's wet, if there's not a natural break in the Plastidip, sometimes it does like to peel up. So use a straight edge razor blade or something similar to hold down the Plastidip as you peel up the tape and go, you know, an inch at a time. So that you are left with a nice clean edge. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it inspired you, or you know, gave you ideas for your own projects, and I hope you learned something. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.